Hey guys, welcome to another edition of The Watch Collector. My name's Ollie. Today we've got an insight into a brand that is, I think in one word, exclusive. They make around 20 watches a year. Since their inception in 2017, they've only made 60 in total. And at this moment in time, they are purely developing and producing tourbillon. That's the kind of level we're talking about, and it's a real privilege to have Caroline from the brand. Caroline, thank you so much for coming to have a chat with us today, to tell us all about this brand, which is, like so many of these videos you've probably seen before, this is the first time that I'm getting to actually see these watches in person, and spoiler alert, they will blow you away. Before we go any further, of course, the obligatory wristwatch check, and I'm wearing the Laurent Ferrier Sport Auto in blue. So as I've mentioned, this is a brand that started with its first watch in 2017 by a gentleman under its eponymous name, David Candaux, who's got over 30 years experience in watches, including working at some very prestigious brands. He's developed around 36 patents himself whilst working for these brands, including major names like Jaeger-LeCoultre. So he's got a real history and knowledge and understanding of what makes watches tick. So Caroline, tell us a little bit about the inspiration, if you may, around the creation of the brand, and then we'll have a chat about these two pretty amazing pieces we've got in front of us.
Well, David has been working in the industry for many years, as you mentioned, and it was very important for him to be able to create a piece that is really a 21st century piece, with paying a lot of respect to the heritage of the watchmaking industry. He's born in the Vallée de Joux. He's a third generation watchmaker, so he's pretty much born into this atmosphere. And what was very important for him is really to be able to create his piece without compromise. So the very first thought he had when he developed his creation, his first timepiece, was really to make it very comfortable, and as he has a small wrist, to make it very harmonious and ergonomic, and yeah, that fits perfectly on the wrist. So there's been a lot of research behind it. The first conception, the first drawing of the pieces were actually with the objective of creating a piece. He did it 17 years before launching his brand, actually, and with the time he realized that he could get into really creating his own brand.
So just to pick up on that, we all know how long it takes to develop movements from conception to actually manufacture. But imagine the idea of having an idea in your head for not just 1, 2, 3, 5 years, but 17 years. So 2000, which was, when I was just 16 years old, he already had something in his mind to create something like this.
Exactly.
I'm 41 now, by the way, just for anyone, just to do the maths.
So the first fascination he had was when he discovered, when he was 13 years old, he discovered a wristwatch with a tourbillon. It was the Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso 60th anniversary tourbillon. And when he discovered the majesty and the revolution of the tourbillon, he just kept it in his mind, and he said, okay, if one day I create my piece without any compromise, it has to be a tourbillon. But for him, it's not only a tourbillon. It's really part of having a tourbillon that brings something. And so, of course, it's accuracy, but also it's the majesty behind the revolution. So the 30-degree incline tourbillon, when you see the rotation, it's very nice, and it's really the pleasure of looking at it.
And you talked about the fact it needs to be ergonomic. You have to have harmony with it. You also need to have the lightness.
Exactly.
And so it's important that both these pieces we have today, they are almost completely grade 5 titanium, other than the dial on this one, which is 18 karat gold. And that includes the movement. And we're going to get onto that obviously a little bit later, because that in itself is very special. But that does include the tourbillon itself, which is in grade 5 titanium. And as Caroline has mentioned, it's set at a 30-degree angle. And the whole point of that is to ensure the greatest possible accuracy. It is more accurate than if it is in line with the dial. Okay, there's one thing that you may have noticed already, in addition to the pretty amazing layout of this piece, and that's where the crown is.
Exactly.
Tell us a bit about the crown, or as you defer it as, the magic crown.
David called it the magic crown because it's very beginning of the conception of the watch. He has so he developed it at 6 o'clock. When you push on it, you get into the neutral position. Then when you take it out, you can easily take it out. And when you see the red ring, it's winding mode. The function is in winding mode. Then
with the power reserve at 12 o'clock.
A 50-hour chronometric power reserve, so it works longer, but in order to really keep it very accurate, it's specified just for 55 hours. And when you go down with one step, you have the time setting. So a bit, exactly. Then you go a step lower, and it's back to neutral, and then you can push it, and it's closed. All positions are waterproof.
Or every single one?
Exactly,
even
every
winding.
single one. Yeah. So this is why it took him a lot of time, really, to be able to create a patented device, I would say, that really is reliable, because out of it, as it's at 6 o'clock, he had to develop the whole caliber, unique caliber. So if you take the caliber, he asked himself the question, as the watchmakers 200 years ago asked themselves, which material should I use to make it very reliable, and so to fight against, to be anti-corrosive and anti-magnetic. And in the time, the watchmaker came up with an alloy, which is a German silver. And when he created his brand, he said, okay, he asked himself the same question, and looking at the periodic table, he realized that the titanium was actually the material that was the best to fight against corrosion and magnetism. Of course, it's not a simple. It's very resistant, and it's really harder to machine and to hand finish. So that brings a longer time also to do all the hand finishing, and to do it exactly the way he does, as they used to do, the watchmakers used to do in the past. So it's a 5 times longer process to do the hand finishing perfectly.
And you can see, most people who talk about grade 5 titanium say how difficult it is to work with. I think this is one of the few watches you can actually feel how difficult it will be, or has been, even though it has been perfected, on the basis you've got 3 separate types of finishing on the case alone. You've got your sandblasting around the base and into the lugs. Then you've got a polish finish around the edge of the bezel, and you've also got satination. So you've got all 3. This is 18 karat gold in the dial.
Exactly.
Right? And hand grained.
Hand grained.
That's the
exactly.
finish.
Yeah. So it makes it very delicate, and this is actually this DC1 titanium has been launched in April this year, and it's really the expression, as he wanted to be a very traditional piece, very classic. You have the lugs that are straight. and very comfortable on the wrist. This is his main purpose. So the cut, also the design of the case has been really thought to be very comfortable, and on top of it, it's very nice because it's all titanium, so very light. And
extremely light. So as some of you may know, this piece, the Laurent Ferry, is full titanium, and this makes that watch look heavy. At 3 o'clock, is that enamel?
No,
No,
it's an opal.
It's opal.
He's been opal. Yeah, he's been studying also with some friends who really, with the time, he got the first pieces of DC1 were with enable, but the finishing that he realized he could do the perfect hand finishing was really with the opal.
It's really clean, especially when you have the blued finish of the hands.
Exactly.
It's really, really lovely.
Yeah.
And so this is 43 millimeter in diameter.
43.
Right, let's flip it over to the reverse. Now, hopefully this is going to come out on camera, and you're going to have to forgive my pronunciation. But of course, in most watches, you have what's called Code de Genève finishing on the base plate. Here we have something different, which is actually patented to David Candaux.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's Code de Soya. And the depth on this is something else. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind the finishing.
So the Côte de Soya refers to the village where our atelier is, in the Vallée de Joux, Le Soya. It's a very small village, obviously, and it refers also to the beauty of the nature of the Vallée de Joux. So kind of the lakes, the mountains, and so he wanted really to reflect this beauty, the marvel that you have there when it's like now with the snow, with the sun. It's really, really wonderful. And so this is really a very particular finishing. First, it took him a lot of time to really be able to finish this way, because it's on titanium, obviously, and on top of it there are three different so flat finishing that makes it very, very nice and smooth.
And we touched on it earlier. This is a gentleman who spent many years as an engineer, and such is the precision. The bevels are at exactly 3 millimeters in angle. So that is what really provides the depth and the idea that it's almost as if you've got waves
exactly
traveling through the. It really is something else. Wow. Okay. So that was the DC1, and that was your launch model. Wasn't it?
The launch, exactly.
Back in 2017.
DC1, and this one is DC1 titanium.
DC1 titanium. And here we have another model line, also in full titanium, but this is the DC6.
Exactly.
And you'll see straight away, there is a slight difference in size. This is 44, am I correct? So it's 1 millimeter, slightly larger in diameter. But you'll see, first of all, the difference on the dial. Tell us about this guilloche.
So
surrounding the
general, well, basically you have the same caliber, 3-degree inclined caliber. You have the tourbillon, the 30-degree inclined tourbillon. The second is directly on the revolution of the tourbillon. And on top of it, he wanted to create a modern piece. So here you have the traditional one with the straight lugs, and here you have the curved lugs. To be the kind of watch you would like to wear when he's doing sport, paragliding, and the special finishing that you have on the dial is the special guilloche. But he really wanted to refer also to the guilloche when in the past it was invented. It was invented for the pocket watches. When you take the pocket watch out of the pocket, to have it a good grip in your hands. And so the first objective of the guilloche wasn't aesthetic; it was really functional. Of course, here you have a wristwatch, so it won't fall. But he wanted to create this special contact with the owner for him to feel and touch the special guilloche pattern.
And it's very unusual. You'll have seen hopefully it's come out on camera, that both have a slight decline in the way that the sapphire crystal is done, and here the way the dial is done. And ultimately that's for legibility on the wrist, ease of use whilst on the wrist. But the idea that you've got this double bubble effect, then surrounded by the guilloche, it really is quite ingenious. And so it's the same movement as the DC1.
Yes.
So we have the same magic crown, we have the same very beautiful code de soya on the movement. But what we also have is, let's go back to the guilloche and the inspiration for that, please, because that's got something very personal to David Candaux as well, isn't it?
Exactly. The name of the guilloche is Pointe du Rizou, and Rizou is actually the forest that you have in the Vallée de Joux. And as he likes paragliding from the top, from the sky, the way he sees the forest is with little points. So he wanted actually to reflect the same harmony as what he sees when he's paragliding. So this is a very unique guilloche pattern, and very nicely presented to really have this harmony on the wrist.
You've mentioned about the modernity of the lugs. And the way that they spread out, you can really see and feel that actually when you've got it in person, and that when you compare them side by side, then you can see how one is a slightly more traditional.
Maybe the other way. Sorry.
Forgive me. Yeah.
No.
You can see how one is definitely more contemporary than the other. Amazing. So DC1, DC6. What's next for David Candaux?
So David is, as we mentioned, he's a complete watchmaker and also engineer. So
and what we mean by that is everything is in-house.
In-house, totally in-house. So there are only 3 watchmakers in our small atelier, of course, which makes it very exclusive in terms of production, as you mentioned. And currently is working on a new caliber that, of course, refers, pay homage to the past, to the heritage of the watchmaking in the Vallée de Joux. Watchmaking industry was born in the Vallée de Joux, but coming with a new idea, very innovative, same as these pieces, always bringing something new to the watchmaking industry, and very creative. So right now we don't say much about it, but it's going to be the DC12, and it's so planned to be launched next year.
And are we able to say that will be the first without a certain part of these watches? Are we able to say that?
Sure.
Okay, so the DC12 will be the first in the collection that won't feature a tourbillon.
Exactly.
But there will be other intricacies that we will wait to find out about.
And it will be also the entry price of the David Candaux collection, because here you have only tourbillon, I would say, very detailed, each piece really has its own identity with the magic round, which you'll find in any piece of David Candaux. It's really the signature that you'll find all the time. But with a new complication. And
of course, no one is going to pretend that these pieces are not going to be expensive. Of course they are. The attention to detail, the finishing, the movement, they're all exceptional. Now, particularly bearing in mind you've got a 30-degree inclined tourbillon, then to me the first thing that's going to spring to mind is Tourbillon and Materials, where Caroline spent some time in the past.
Yes.
And of course they are also incredibly expensive watches. But for example, this piece of DC1 is around 190,000. 195,000
exactly.
Swiss francs?
Swiss francs.
Yeah. Put it this way, if you put this in a Tourbillon Forcé, then I think you're probably paying at least 30% more, maybe more. So that tells you that actually for what you're getting with this piece is not only phenomenal craftsmanship but also phenomenal value, and it's been absolutely a pleasure to be able to see these kinds of pieces in person. As I mentioned, this is the first time I've seen them. It's been amazing to meet Caroline.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming in.
It was a pleasure.
One of the great things about being able to do these interviews is exactly this, being able to meet people that are creating really special pieces at all ends of the price spectrum. Go check out David Candaux. They're doing some amazing things, and I would love to see what's happening with the DC12, because I understand that's going to be under 100,000 Swiss francs.
Exactly.
So, you know, that's almost the real test. When money is no object, then, you know, you can do anything you want. But when you're starting to put into place a finance equation part of it, then, you know, we'll see what they're made of. But, you know, from what I can see so far, 10 out of 10. Guys, that's enough for me from now. Thanks again to Caroline for joining us. That was David Candaux. We'll see you next time.